Sales is, I need to meet as many people as I can. Like that's the priority.
Yeah.
Operations is, there's so many other responsibilities. And so prioritizing becomes very important.
I feel like you can do whatever you want after you learn the sales process. Two people aren't winning in the case there isn't a sale. You both have to win in most cases.
The best thing about it was I did internships.
Welcome back to Unfollow the Herd podcast, where my mission is to give you a path to become the 1%. So what do? I interview the 1% and try to give you some insights so you can unfollow the herd. Today, I have a guest who works very closely with me, but he was a real estate agent. He was a commercial lender. He also owns some Airbnbs. He understands a little bit about real estate, so I think it can help provide you some value. He also operates our entire $60 million portfolio today, within luxury storage to multifamily to even my Airbnb. We're going to deep dive into operations today, and this is really where you make the money, right? It's whether you achieve what you can or don't achieve. So a lot of weight on his shoulders, but welcome, Trevor Schmitt.
Yeah, awesome. I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
We're back on the screen. Well, tell me what it's like running operations, because you came from the commercial lending world, which I think is drastically different. And maybe we'll go through some of your, just your steps of your career. But what has it been like a little bit outside looking in, just operating facilities from commercial lending?
Yeah, absolutely. Operations is a lot different than sales, right? So for a decade, I was in sales as an agent and then a lender. Much different. You're catering to people's needs but just a lot less responsibility. You're kind of almost playing, holding hands and answering questions to them. But on the operations side, it's a lot more fires to put out, right? So I think there's a certain stress level to it that you have to be okay with, because every day is different, right? It's you never know what the next call is going to be. It could be someone's breaking in, or is it a good call? Someone wants to rent out a bunch of units. It's just, you never really know.
Yeah.
So you're wearing a lot of hats, right? And sales is I need to meet as many people as I can. That's the priority.
Yeah.
I need touch points. That's it. I need to meet as many people as I can. Operations is, there's so many other responsibilities. And so prioritizing becomes very important.
Yeah. And I always think it's so important to learn the sales process. You have to learn that urgency and how to sell. And even back in my old concrete days, we worked a home show, and I would just people come up to you and you're selling and you're learning how to estimate and sell people, and people got to like you and all those things. But I feel like some people that come out of college don't learn or get that experience, and I don't know if sales is a college career, to be honest, that they teach, but maybe they do. I don't really know. But if you don't have that talent, I feel like you can do whatever you want after you learn the sales process, because you already know how fast you need to be, the urgency, and what it takes to really make a business, or in your case, try to get a real estate sale so you can live.
Yeah. Yeah. I 100% agree. Coming out of school, even just growing up in high school or college, sales was just a gross word to me. I was I'll never want to do any type of sales. I have no aspirations to do that. And I had a mentor in college that kind of pushed me, hey, you should think about sales. Cause I was so unsure of what I wanted to do. Just, it was what am I going to do? I didn't know. And he kind of pushed me towards sales. It's a transferable skill. You can, a lot of accountability with it, but so thankful that I did, because like you said, I mean, you become a very good communicator. And that's just, so important to everyday life. I mean, whether it's dealing with a potential partner or a mad tenant or contractors or, even family and friends.
Yeah.
Just being able to communicate effectively and comfortable and confident in that is it's huge for sure.
Yeah. I think that's such an overlooked part of if I left college, I learned the most. I was selling car washes even like before that in college, and like it was like one after another. These old ladies coming through.
Yeah.
I'm working them on the Rain-X. I'm working them on the tire polish. I'm working them on the tire shine.
Yeah.
The detail. You know what I mean? And you would get commission on whatever you would upgrade them to, or selling them a pack of 10 car washes. And it's funny, you could just read their body language, and you could read, and try to like brighten their day, and like offer them, whatever you can to make a deal. They got to always feel like they're getting a deal. If you guys aren't, if they're not, two people aren't winning in the case, there isn't a sale.
Yeah.
You both have to win in most cases. So just the amount of reps. I mean, it was 100 reps a day. I would just cycle car wash people through. It's like, but very overlooked. So, well, cool, man. Well, what, I don't know. I don't even know all your background. Give us some insight. Where'd you grow up? What'd you do? And go to school? And
so I'm from Jamestown, born and raised there. Moved out right after high school, but the first 18 years of my life was raised in Jamestown. Pretty typical, like growing up. I'm a single child, so only child, and so no brothers or sisters. But just like all sports, right? That's like all I did. So overall, great childhood in that sense. Just running around every day with friends. My parents were divorced when I was young, so would split time with them, and very different like styles of raising me, right? Like dad is very old school, like where mom is nurturer and protector, just overly protective and just over like pouring love to me all the time. And dad was not that, right? He didn't have the affection side, but both I take away amazing things from both of them in the sense that, my dad would always push me outside of my comfort zone. Like if I didn't want to go talk to someone, or at a very young age, just like if I wanted something, like he would make me go ask someone for it. And I'd be like, where my mom would just cater me and everything. So
shelter.
Yeah. Oh yes, very much so. But outside of that, just all sports, like, and just running around doing camps. And so it was great that way. And my parents did, everything they could to allow me to do that growing up. So that was the younger years. Going into high school, same thing, just focus on having fun, and then probably focus on having a little too much fun. Hit some rebellious years there. Yeah. I think, my mom being super protective was like, okay, I finally got a little bit of confidence. And, so going into college, like I was just clueless on what I wanted to do, long-term. And I never had a doubt that I would figure it out, or like never doubted myself. I knew that I would lock in and figure it out, but I was like, I have no clue what I'm going to do. So I went to college. I went to Bismarck State at the time. Just went there for generals because, again, no clue what I wanted to do. I was like, I just really want to go have some fun. Like, I want to get out of mom and dad's way. Like, let's just go have some fun.
Yeah.
Ended up going to NDSU. Went into the engineering program actually for 2 years. Found out that is certainly not what I wanted to do.
Mechanical?
Ag engineering.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's where I was in for 2 years. And still just like so confused. I'm like, I don't know what I want to do. I was still just focused on, what was going on that weekend. Like, how can I make as many friends as possible? And ended up going into sport management is what I graduated with, which is essentially a business degree. And it was great in the sense that I did, I think, 3 internships. So when I transferred over, I completed that degree in like 2.5 years. But I did, it's a pretty simple degree, right? It's like, it's not real intensive. But the best thing about it was I did internships.
Oh.
I did an internship in Rochester, Minnesota, and Alexandria, Minnesota one summer. Did an internship with MSUM, and I also did an internship with Northwestern Mutual. So those internships, I mean, I learned more during those than like all of school.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet. What is some of the things you learned like within those internships? Obviously, that's very different businesses too.
Yeah. So like, I don't know if you're familiar with the Northwoods League. It's a it's a baseball league for like top college prospects that still have college eligibility left.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of these kids are like drafted. So that's where I was working on a baseball team in Rochester and Alexandria and working like 70-hour weeks for no pay. But we were just doing everything. Like we would do the marketing. We would do the ticket sales. I had like a little crew of, I think, 6 or 7 high schoolers that I would, schedule them to, okay, you're going to be on the food line. You're going to be doing drinks.
As the intern?
Yeah. And
You're directing?
Yeah. So we would, exactly. It was like the party deck. Heck? That was what I managed. Right. And yeah, it was crazy. I mean, literally we would work like 16-hour days on game days, and we didn't get a dime. So I would live with the host family.
Holy crap.
But just, it was like the first time where you just had a lot of responsibilities, and just learning a lot of different parts of the business, sales, marketing, a little bit of operations. And so I learned how to deal with people there too. Yeah. Right. And just how to manage my time, and a little bit more of like what I liked, what I didn't like. It was, yeah.
Dang, dude. That'd be a heck of an internship to go. I mean,
yeah.
You learned a lot because you went from instantly the intern, which is usually just a dumping ground for others, and doing petty tasks probably, to managing
essentially the owners of the team.
Yeah. I imagine there's no money either.
Right.
There's just no money on these teams.
Exactly. And the owners of the team, like, we were the staff. We were unpaid interns, right? And that was it. So it's like we had to do everything.
Yeah.
There was no hired staff. Like, it was us.
Jeez.
So yeah, it was fun, and we grew good bonds with the kids that I did it with, because like I said, you're just grind like 7 days a week. I mean, when I was in Minnesota that summer, it's like we would get a day off like every 3 weeks. Other than that, I mean, it was a lot of work. Yeah. It was a lot of work.
And you did this for like 6 months?
Over the summer.
Yeah. Oh,
over the summer, in between, I think it would have been like my junior and senior year of college. Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, I need to go back to school to take a break.
Yeah. It's like, and it made you think, it's like, okay, well, maybe I don't want to work in operations in sports. Like, I love competing in sports, but I don't like operating them. And I don't know where's the money going to come from here to do some of the things I want to do.
Yeah. So we shouldn't buy a sports team.
Yeah. Probably
not.
not. Unless you got a couple billion to buy.
Right. Well, buy it. And then, and then it seems like insane amount of money to even operate these teams.
Yeah. You're pretty much just, breaking even. At best. Yeah.
Breaking even.
Yeah.
Sounds like a heck. Well, maybe is sport management okay? So I'm just trying to think. Are they trying to get you to be a general manager of a team? Like, what are they getting you ready for?
It's truly, like, in every sense of the word. It's like, usually I just say I went to school for business, because the way I describe it is like, instead of learning how Walmart operates, like, we would just learn how the Minnesota Wild operated. So that's pretty much what it was, right? Yeah. Like, you still have a marketing department, you still have customers, right? You still have all these same things. It's like strictly business. It's all it was. That's what they taught you, is like, how to run it, like what goes on in a business.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's still all business use. Yeah. Obviously,
sure.
Business is universal as it comes.
Yeah.
I don't know everything they teach in school, because I'm still short some credits. But
yeah.
I still might go back, but maybe like when I'm 50, just to, I don't know. I looked into it.
What's your go-to? What do you want to get?
Well, I don't know. I'm close to a management degree, but it's like, I don't even like management.
Got that covered.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I'll go to entrepreneurial school.
Yeah.
You hear people going to that. I still don't know, like, why not just go out and start something? That's just the way my mind works.
Yeah, well, like I said, the internships are, I mean, through those, I learned everything I learned in school was from internships. It was nothing of, I mean, obviously a few things here and there, but yeah, I mean, you could have went right into the workforce, or just getting some of them jobs, and learned everything you needed to know.
Yeah, I think internships, even, I mean, okay, just we take interns in here, like, to the businesses I own now, and some are great, some have no drive, right? And so you kind of weigh the experiences, but man, some of these people are great coming out of college. You know, we got Thomas that works for us now, and we had others before, but it's like, what an experience for even them. Like, you know, the baseball thing, it taught you something. And then I don't know, if you're listening to this, you're in college, do as many internships as you can.
Yeah.
You might find something you really actually might be interested in doing, and you might learn more about processes, systems, and business and KPIs, all the stuff, you know, more just from the internships. I would say that too. I never got to the point of internships. Maybe if I go back to school at some point, I'll go do an internship at the end of mine.
And it's a good way to it's a good way to test yourself too, right? You know,
right.
Like, do I got it? Like,
yeah,
it's a good way to see where you're at, and it'll show you some of your strengths and some of your weaknesses too. And I would say, even if it's not an internship, it's like this, you know, same concept as if you're in a position where you're not exactly loving what you're doing, or it's like, I don't want to be here forever. It's like, don't be scared to maybe even take a step back and just, because it's the education piece about it, and challenge yourself, right? Like, you need to test yourself and see, okay, like, what am I made out of? Like, what kind of stress can I take? And can I take, you know, at that point, it's like, what am I risking? It's I'm 20 years old. Like, I have no responsibilities.
Put it all on the line.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting, and I want to get into the heavy like operations of what we're doing now. I did think it's interesting. Your mom was very much a caterer, and your dad was very much push you around a little bit and try to get you. You know, when you're with your dad, I'm sure you were always a little bit on edge on, what do I got to do now?
Yeah, for sure. There was no like, not a lot of like praise or anything, right? Like, it wasn't just, you did so great. None of that. I was actually just telling this story. I don't know how I remembered it, but I was telling it to my fiance Kayla, and like explaining kind of how it was. And I remember being very young, and we were at like this cafe in this mall in Jamestown, and I was like running around as we were finishing up eating, and I went into this like store. I don't even know what it was, but I like took something out of the store. You know, I'm just super young. I went back and I was like, oh, look at this, Dad. Like, it looks so cool.
Yeah.
And he just like made it clear that I couldn't do that. Right. And then I just got terrified. And then he's like, okay, you need to go in there and tell them what you did and give it back to them. And I was like, okay, well, like, come with me. He's like, no, like, go in there and do it. And I just remember being like terrified. Oh, yeah. I was like, well, what's going to happen? He's like, well, I guess you're going to find out. Like, go in there and tell them what you did. So stuff like that, right? Where it was like, would make me uncomfortable, but it did translate into, you know, me being comfortable in a lot of those situations. I think before a lot of people were. Yeah. Just stuff like that. Whereas my mom was.
Well, what happens if your mom was around your dad in that situation? What would your mom do? Would your dad?
My mom would have just been like, "Oh, it's okay. Well, this is why we don't do this," and she would have walked me into the store, and she'd have been like, "See, my cute little son. He doesn't know," and you know, kind of made it like a funny thing, or just like, just super nurturing and protective. And I understand that way more now. We have a 2-year-old son. Yeah. And especially like having an only child, you know? Oh yeah. So it makes much more sense now. It's like, she just doesn't want anything bad to happen to me. Yeah. Right?
My baby ain't going to military.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember I have an older sister, but that's it. And I remember my mom's like, you're not doing military. Yeah. My mom's more nurturing than, my dad's just here to, similar, but I think a lot of times you don't see parents on opposite ends like that typically.
Very opposite.
And I think you do have two types of parents. You got the parents that do everything for their children up to like sometimes too old. Like you shouldn't be picking out what your kids are wearing at 10 years old. Like I just get out of the way. Yeah. I let my 4-year-old son, he doesn't always look the best, but you'll figure it out. You
get picked on a couple times.
Yeah. Camel pants and a, Jefferson jersey and yellow socks. I'm good with it, bro. Let's do it. So he, but I very much lean into not catering for my kids. That's me. This isn't every parent's like this, because some kids grow up and they're nurtured all the way, and then they're like, oh, you know, I got to do that for my kids.
Yeah.
And my wife was like that. Her parent, great, phenomenal people. It's just that's how they were.
Yeah.
But I don't know what car insurance is. I don't know other than how to put gas in. Like that's all I can do.
Yeah.
You just don't learn a lot of skills that way.
Yeah.
So
and one thing, like my mom was very nurturing, but like very disciplined.
Oh, okay.
So it was not like,
okay.
Like I was like terrified of her.
Yeah.
And she never raised her voice one time. So like when I got into rebellious years, like I'm like, I don't care what anyone else says. Like I know my mom was, if I were to disrespect someone or something like that, it was black and white. Like your privileges were taken away immediately. And there was no talking about it. Like there was no pleading. If I would start pleading about it, it'd be like, it would just, okay, well now you're losing them for longer. And so very disciplined and just in like such a calm way. So it's funny you bring up the military thing too, because I got a minor when I was in high school, and after that I was like, okay, like I need to, figure it out, like get disciplined, whatever. And I like went kind of through the process of joining the National Guard. And my mom like broke down, was like, pleaded with me, like, I don't, like, please don't do this.
Yep.
Like, yeah. So
my parents are similar to yours. I think that's kind of funny, but my mom was never going to let me enroll. She's like, you're not going near that place.
Yeah.
Like,
she did not like that idea.
I'm not losing my only baby.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Okay, Mom.
You understand.
I'll stay home for you.
Yeah.
We'll do some other things. We'll try to operate some luxury storage units. How about that?
A little safer.
A little safer. It's a little stressful, but it's safer.
Yeah.
So, nothing bad to parents. I think it was a good topic. I think it's just like, there's always those two types of parents. And I always lean to, it is interesting when your mom was very disciplined and you knew the deal, but it's like, lean into your kids, let them grow, let them make mistakes.
For sure.
And put them out there. Like, because most kids don't want to do that, especially today with devices and all this crap. Like, it is different even from our childhood to now. It's like, our kids don't call each other. They text and group chats and Snapchats and whatever. And my kids are assholes when they're on those devices. We take them from them for a week, and you want to see some good kids, you take their devices. And they're like angels for freaking the eternity.
I'll do whatever it takes.
Yeah.
For us, it was like, I remember my punishment being like, the only thing you could do is watch TV.
Oh,
right. Like you couldn't go outside.
Right. They could take
and that was the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
It's like, you can sit here and play your game or watch a movie, but you can't go outside.
Right.
Like that was the biggest punishment ever.
Yeah, because you were athletic. And,
it was just like go, ride bike and So it's just funny how it changes.
Yeah, my kids have bikes; they don't use them. But all right, let's talk a little bit operations. We're managing. We're developing a ton of luxury storage type portfolio of just storage units. I mean, we're raising capital. We're developing them. We're finding partners in other markets. We're researching and underwriting in those markets. We're kind of very vertically integrated all the way through construction. We find good general contractors in other markets that we're not in, and we work with them to build the product that we see as a niche. Most people call it mixed industrial, light industrial. I call it luxury storage because we're basically larger storage units only, climate controlled, some of the things that aren't in just small bay storage, meaning the 10 by 10s and 10 by 20s. So that's what we're developing. We're trying, my goal is to try to do about 500,000 square feet a year. We're on pace to do that right now. It's definitely got its challenges because we've opened up these new facilities and basically by the time you get them stabilized, your next facility is opening and it's stabilizing, and it's very much a sales process. Like, how good is your websites? How good is your marketing? You're in different markets, so you have to, I don't know, there's just a learning curve a little bit to that. So, just more or less, let's open the door. That's kind of what we're doing. you're operating a lot of these. You came on with us, I don't even know how many months ago.
Yeah, I think it was like September.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know, whatever
Six-ish,
that is.
we'll call it, or something.
Yeah.
And Trevor didn't know anything about the world, but I think he has a mentality to do so. So it's like, I don't think anyone needs to be an expert in an area they just got to want to know how to do it. Yeah. And I think he got that. So it's, what are we doing right now? What's some of your challenges? Maybe you talk through the operations, just the start of a project. We develop one. We're like, all right, we're going here. What does your mind go to, and how are you going through things?
Yeah, there's two sides of it, right? So we have stabilized properties, some multifamily properties, some stabilized storage facilities. Those are obviously much different than like the new facility in Hartford that's set to open up in a couple weeks. So
yeah,
the stabilized ones, they're easier, you could say, right? You're just kind of refining processes and communicating with the tenant base to see what's going well, what's not going well, that type of thing. The new facilities is a whole different animal. You have to make sure that it's going to be operational at the first place, right? And there's a lot of things to that where it's like, hey, is our door system and our gate system going to work correctly? Are we going to have adequate security there? How is our snow going to get pushed, right?
Yeah.
Just a lot of things that like the Mac construction guys, they don't think about how it's going to be operated. Like their job is to build it. And that's why we work well together, because we're able to have those conversations with the construction team. But then, I mean, at the end of the day, the most important thing is, we have 135 units in Hartford that are opening up. We're not buying an existing property. There's 0 tenants there.
Right.
So the day it opens, there's 0, and we have to lease it up, right? That's our job. So not only do you have to make sure it operates, but you have to market it effectively. And there's a lot of different ways to do that, whether it's obviously the website, Google ads, Facebook ads. But then you want to try to be in the community too. And like I think the best marketing tool you have is like building the facility. Yeah. Because we buy these in strategic locations, right? We're not buying them in random places. Yep. In Hartford, it's right off a busy interstate. So most of our leads and calls that we get are from, hey, I drive by this every single day. Mm-hmm. And that, that's how I'm seeing it. And I think what really makes us different from what you would think of as self-storage is our tenant base. I mean, our tenant base is for the most part businesses, mm-hmm. right? We have a lot of RV storage, boat storage, people are storing their toys as well, but a lot of them are businesses. They're contractors that are storing their inventory or their tools, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. So it makes I like dealing with that tenant base as opposed to, the fire sale, like, hey, I need a 10 by 10 and we're moving out of our place and I need it for a month. So yep. I think understanding the tenant base is huge to that lease up. And yeah, what we're doing now is just refining, like, how do we connect with those people?
Yeah, dude, I always think, the first thing, it's like, I think everyone asks us, okay, what's your tenant base then? Because these 10 by 10s, it's everybody, right? And everyone moving an apartment, we'll call them, whether it's riffraff and they're sleeping in it or, whatever, you have all these. But what is your tenant base? That's probably our most commonly asked question. Who is it? It's the business owners. It really is. And I think the most interesting statistic that I've found that goes hand in hand with that is that pre-COVID, there was about 3.5 million new businesses every year. Ever since then, everyone's want to work on their own. Everyone wants to be a consultant. Everyone wants to be freedom of their own time. They don't want a hybrid. They want to work from home, whatever, right? And so what that has done is just basically climb businesses, doubled the amount of businesses. There's almost 6 million new businesses now in 2024 and going into 2025 like we are. I think it just keeps climbing. Yeah. So like you almost doubled. I mean, not quite, but I mean, that's a lot of small businesses that need cheap overhead. They want it super flexible, 30-day rentals like we're offering. They don't want to pay for too much that they need. Maybe it's an unheated unit. We have some of those. We have heated units. We have most of those. And then we also have these like business suites that have like everything you need to operate a business. And like you climb the ladder as a business. First 5 years of business is just eating shit for long enough to ride out the money loss to hopefully make money at the end of 5 years. And sometimes they don't. Sometimes you close them. So I always think about, what is our tenant base and why that makes up our tenant base. I think there's just more small businesses out there.
For sure. Yeah. And I think climbing the ladder is a good description of it, because I would say the businesses that we do get, would they like a shop? Yeah.
Yeah.
They would love a shop, right?
Yeah.
That's probably where they're headed to, or where they want to go to. So we fall in that niche of like, hey, we can, there's options for contractor shops, but that's going to be, 2.5 times what just the storage unit is. But we can get you a big space where you can do storage, store all your tools. You kind of have a home base.
Yep.
That, you can't run a business out of that unit. Because I think in our market, there's been a lot of those like contractor shops that have went up.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of, those are available, but they're not cheap. And like you said, these new businesses you have to keep overhead down. You're already, bleeding money, maybe, if, definitely not making, it hand over fist. So we're right in that middle ground of like, here's kind of your stepping stone. Here's a nice place that you can get into. And I think that's most of our tenants, right?
Yeah.
Where they're not the huge, plumbing electrical company that has their own shop, right? Already. It's these people that are kind of just getting started. They're whether they're a construction contractor or, whatever they're doing, landscaping, whatever it is, it's like, hey, we can't do this out of our, remotely anymore, right? I'm sick of parking my trailer on the street, or, having everything come through my house. Like it's that next step of like, okay, we can float the $700-800 charge, whatever it is, to have a secure location that we can kind of spread our stuff out.
Yeah. It's a stepping stone. I mean, geez, if you started everything perfect and bought the overhead, you'd just go down right away, basically. So, it's definitely, but I think with all of our projects, and some of like the hardest thing, like no matter what business you make, you're going to make a business plan. And really how our business plan goes in storage is that, we have a construction time, right? That's starting construction. We'll call that month 1. And sometimes construction can take anywhere from 4 to 8 months, depending upon the size of the project. Maybe the contractor shops, because they have bathrooms, or a little more amenities in there, so it takes a little longer. But 4 to 8 months generally. And then there's a lease up period, right? And in storage, lease up isn't like an apartment building that like everyone just needs housing, right? Like storage is one of those amenities that takes a little bit longer to fill up. It's a little grittier to fill up. But a lot of people need it. It's hard, even for them to build a garage. It's like, okay, a simple garage can be $50,000, or I can rent a bay for $600, $700, $800, in like a heated, and get everything you need and really nothing you don't. And it's secure, and you can come and go as you please. So, I think it's just like the whole business model, the business plan is so important. No matter if you're building a coffee shop, I guarantee you're not going to have 1,000 cups on the first day. Maybe you do. You have this grand opening, but it's going to dip somewhere. Yeah. Is it going to dip after month 1? Is it going to dip after month 2? You don't know. Yep. We even find it because we're in the Midwest. We have cold climates for 4 or 5 months, sometimes 6. And we have warmer climates where we don't stabilize as fast because you don't need the heated space as much, right? So sometimes we can climb an occupancy, get to a stabilized, and then drop down. And then it has to wait a whole nother year, or that next winter, where we actually stabilize and we start seeing the fruition of like the business model actually happening. So this whole business plan can take 2 years, typically 2 years, sometimes 3 years. Depends on the size of the facility and how fast the absorption rate is in the storage. But we have found building bigger facilities it's like, why don't you just phase and build 12,000? Well, you can, but this is going to take a long time, and there's going to be a lot of competition along the way. We figured out building a one size, one phase facility. It's cheaper. We get better construction material costs. We get better things. It's faster. We can get it stabilized. It actually makes more sense. And guess what? The facility is sellable too. So you're entering an institutional money world. In any business, you want to build an exit strategy. You didn't build a business to build yourself a job. Right. But there's also takes people. So like when we open a facility, it's not just you out there like peddling these things on the street.
Yeah.
I mean, you have marketing.
Yeah.
you got your sales tactics, and then you got, you're having to, I don't know, get out in that community, but you have building managers, and you have, maybe explain that. Maybe explain, okay, let's go more of a stabilized asset. What does it take to run some of a stabilized that once you get through that business plan? Yeah.
Like you said, we need a team to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no doubt about it. So there's a couple aspects of that. Like right now we have, first of all, we have like our software that we use, right? And then we have a marketing team, and they're helping us with, getting going on Google and making sure that we can show up in those searches, that everything matches, so that when people are searching storage in the area, that we come up. So we have people on the back end that are doing that, because again, there's a million different hats to wear. So utilizing those resources is critical. And then the other big one that you can't really get around is having like some on-site building manager, right? So yeah, I'm based in Fargo. We have this facility in Grand Forks. We have our Fargo facility, Hartford, South Dakota coming up, Lake 𝗨𝗨𝗍𝗪 soon after that. The one thing that is crucial is having a building manager, because it's not a multifamily property, right, where people are living there. So you have less headaches, but you still have things that come up, whether it's, this lock isn't working or the overhead door isn't working. It's minor stuff, but at the end of the day, you need someone that is there, that knows the facility and that can take care of it in a timely manner. And that's huge for us, because especially with these businesses, like we need to give them a good experience. Like, especially right away, it's very crucial.
Right.
Like our first wave of clients need to have a good experience. If they don't, and they start telling everyone how we don't know how to operate a facility and it doesn't work well, and we get bad reviews, et cetera, our lease up is not going to be fun.
Right. So
we need to make sure that we have the systems in place to take care of those businesses. And yeah, it's so important, and getting feedback from them on is also, it's been very helpful. Just going deeper again with them. It's like, hey, what do you like about it? What don't you like about it?
Yeah.
They appreciate that, because again, it's a business for them.
Yeah.
Like this is an investment for them.
Yeah.
They think, they are making an investment in their business, and it's a part of their business where it's not the 10 by 10 where it's like, we got a shit show going on right now. We just need to put our stuff. Like it's just a headache no matter what. It's just a transaction. It's a 10 by 10 space where we need to cater to our tenants, and that's what we want to do. We want to have that facility that can take care of them, and they're comfortable with having their business there and having that be a part of their expenses.
Yeah.
But yeah, the on-site team is a huge part of that, and having processes around that, right? It's because again, we're remote. We have someone on site. We need to be able to educate them on. It's new for them too.
Yep.
Most of these people that are on-site managers have never managed luxury storage before. It's not rocket science,
right?
But we just need to make sure that we know what our processes are, and that we communicate that with them effectively. And then the accountability side of it, right? That's probably the most important thing, is that it's not a set it and forget it thing. It, to a certain extent it is, and you need to be able to trust these people to do their job, but you have to hold them accountable as well. Yeah. So it's constant communication and getting feedback from them. Like, hey, we've hired you because you're good at this and you have this ability. So, not being so dogmatic about everything in the sense of like, this is exactly how it has to go.
Yeah.
Like if you see an issue, share that with us.
Right.
So that we can, try to improve.
What's your most interesting call in the last 6 months? God, I love storage operations and like some of the there's usually a good one somewhere. You're definitely going to hit more, I'm sure, as you go. But.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, there's been a few. Did get a call from a sheriff not long ago that
not good.
One of the tenants in a unit was like had a warrant out for their arrest, and the sheriff just like spilled the beans to me, which I was like, I don't know why you're telling me all this. You could have just asked if he was there, but he's like, yeah, he threatened his wife and had a gun. And I'm like, okay, like, just tell me what you need to do. Yeah, like, I don't want to do that. It's most of that. And during our lease up phase, we offer competitive rates. So with that, some of them are not ideal tenants. And when we start to get up to a stabilization rate and get closer to market rates on the rental side, we've had to deal with people stop paying and they so going over that. But trying to think, nothing. It's been rather calm, surprisingly. Just like a few minor things. I deal with more just like some of my Airbnbs, honestly, not the best neighborhood. So.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
It hasn't been too crazy lately, but yeah, the one with the warrant out for the rest, that wasn't.
And so how do you usually deal with, even if it's the Airbnb, how do you usually deal with some of those situations? Like what's protocol?
Yeah. I think it's the most important thing. Like obviously you have to have systems in place. Right. So you can't try to, every problem that comes in, you can't like, okay, I need to sit down and mastermind how to overcome this problem in the perfect way. Right. You have to have like standards in your processes of like when A happens, we do B or whatever it is. But I think the most important part of it is like, is the mindset, and just instead of waking up and being like, oh my God, I hope nothing happens today, you just like something is going to happen today. So just accepting that like there's going to be a problem.
Yeah. Right.
Like, something bad is going to happen. And we have, like you said, $60 million worth of assets. Like something is going to happen. So you have to just accept that first of all. And because if you don't, I mean, you're just like, you can get frustrated and bitter all the time and think things are falling apart. Like that's the business. Like that's the name of the game, is being able to deal with it. So obviously you have to have processes, and that makes it a lot less stressful, but you have to have that tolerance. Like you have to have the tolerance to deal with stress. And, I think that's the biggest thing. And it's a skill. Like I've had to get better at that. Right. I think
I think you're hitting, I mean, most people's fears having to deal with, the tenants, toilets, termite, whatever, anything, problems.
Yeah.
They're like, I can't deal with this. I can't rent it, because they take everything. I think for my wife, for instance, she did her property management. She's like the last person. She just wants to cater to everybody. And she's like, I just want them to be good. And financially, she didn't really care. It's like, well, that's not the best property management ways. Obviously there's a financial thing. You're trying to make money. It's a business. Yeah. I mean, essentially with any rental, but you're also dealing with people's problems. She would get so intrigued everybody's problem. And unfortunately, you can't do that and have sustainability with it, because it eats you at night. You're thinking about it. You have the bad tenant in place, and it's like you wake up knowing there's going to be a problem today.
Yeah. And I think you hit it on the head. Is that's the other part of it, is like the emotional side, because that's why one of the main reasons that I joined the Mac team is like, you want to be around good people, and we want to take care of people. We're not in like, we're not always cutthroat. Like we don't it's not just like at the end of the day, oh, what's the number, and the higher number wins no matter what. But you can get taken advantage of very quickly doing that. I've learned that the hard way as well, right? With like tenants, like they can give you like a sob story, and you don't like, that stuff does happen, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to pile on people when it's not necessary. But again, you can get taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And I would say more times than not, you do.
Yeah.
It's not like, it's never the success story where it's like, oh, I gave this person a break and they just totally turned around and like happy ending.
Yeah.
Most of the time it's like, give them a break, you get taken advantage of, and eventually you have to put the foot down anyways.
Yeah.
And yeah, that can like ride on you. And you have to be able to tolerate that for sure.
Yeah. Doesn't affect you at night anymore. I mean, it's just part of the deal.
Exactly. And it's that expectation.
Yeah.
It's like, because, and another thing that helps with that is having the resources, right? Like having the team to deal with it. Like when I first started with Airbnb and it's like, I'm kind of doing everything and it's like, it's almost like an ego thing too, where you're just like, you're challenging yourself. You're okay. I want to take all these on, but it can be like a lonely place because I don't have all the resources in the world. Like I can't do everything.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to do everything by myself, like that's a failed and miserable place. So on our team, it's having those resources it makes all the difference in the world. Okay. Knowing that I have, people that know what they're doing behind me and resources to take care of problems is like, that takes a lot of stress away too.
Oh,
if you're,
I would agree.
Yeah.
Don't put all the pressure on yourself, because some people buy real estate, an Airbnb, they lose money on it, and they're like, I'm losing money. It's a bunch of problems. I don't want to do this anymore. Or you know what I mean? It's like the worst experience of their life. And I'm not saying whether you do Airbnbs. I think Airbnbs they're tough. That's a tough way to start your real estate career.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you lease out a place for a year and it's a newer duplex and you're renting out both halves, probably the easiest place to start, because if you have good tenants and you find good people, it makes your life much easier. But, there's a lot of people that don't understand all that, background checks. Don't just take someone if they're going to pay you extra money because their credit's really poor. It just usually will lead into another problem. Not in all cases. Most cases.
Yeah.
You trust it. I'm a very trusting person of people. Been taken advantage many times. And so I've worked through that with myself and tried to work through that. But I think there's just so many people that want to get into real estate. They can't figure out how to underwrite it. They don't know how to operate it because they haven't researched that. They're trying to research how to buy it. And you really aren't going to know. You can even teach yourself operations. You should call guys like Trevor. You should call operators. Yeah. Talk to them. It's more important than even getting the deal done. And even if you have the money and you can just go buy a deal, it's like still know the operations. Because if you're going to hire a management for Airbnb, I have one in Scottsdale, it's 20% plus management fees. I mean, we were looking at that. And you're not going to make much money or you're probably going to lose money. It was my first month of making money in a year of owning that property, right? It's like, it costed me $60,000 to own it last year. So yeah, it's a vacation home, but I wasn't making any money. It's literally due to the property management.
Yeah.
And so I think the operations of it, you can systematize them. I think there's people out there that are willing to help within the Airbnb, whether it's cleaners and maintenance guys, whatever. You just got to be willing to organize that. But just understand, if you're going to buy real estate, even if you have the means to go buy it, you have the cash to do it, or you're trying to get a deal done, then you're like, oh, I'm going to figure it out on the back end. Because usually if you're going to figure it out on the back end, you're over leveraged when you buy that thing.
Yes.
Meaning your debt payment's going to be higher than your NOI or your operating income to even make on the property. You're not going to have a good experience. I promise you.
That's a stressful scenario.
Yeah, right. And so you hate to pay in $2,000 a month to keep a home because you don't make enough to make the mortgage or whatever.
Yeah.
So operations is huge. What else? Let's just say the Airbnb world. What have you learned in the operating world? If they don't want to hire management, they want to do it themselves. Obviously, there's great softwares and different things, but how do you keep that manageable? That's team of maintenance, and maybe you are team maintenance. You got to wear a lot of hats when you're in real estate.
Yeah.
And be willing. So unless you can buy a 200 unit apartment complex that can afford all the maintenance teams and management. But
Yep.
yeah, how do you do it on the small version?
Yeah, I think for me it was important right away to, like I said, it probably comes down to an ego thing right away too, right? You want to do everything and you think that you can. But I also knew, like, I kind of knew that I was going to eat crow on some of it, right? And in the sense that, like, I was going to get overwhelmed and not do everything correctly. But I think it's important to do those things to learn, to educate yourself on them. Because then when it comes time to start delegating, start hiring people to do stuff, like, you've done it a lot.
Yeah.
And you know what to expect.
Yeah.
Right? Like, whether it's cleaning or minor maintenance or managing, it's like, I know how this works. I've dealt with all the issues. So it gives you confidence and just the knowledge to manage your third parties or your contractors, whoever it is. It gives you like the working knowledge to not be taken advantage of, essentially.
Yep.
Because if you're going into a blind, you set it and forget it. You just hope these people are doing a good job. But how do you know?
Right.
And if you try to ask them or hold them accountable, if you don't have any experience in it, you don't have a leg to stand on. So I think right away it's important just to, I mean, even in, I think about, like, our portfolio, like, I made the recommendation. I was like, I'm going to take the calls. Like, we eliminated the call center.
Sure. Yep.
And is it the best use of my time? Probably not. And are we going to change that again? For sure. But, like, for now, it's like, hey, I just want, these are so many touch points for me. Like, we canceled our call center and I'm taking a lot of the calls so that I can ask these people questions and like educate them, so that when we, double our portfolio again this year and it comes time for us to hire someone to help me out, like, I know what's going on.
Yeah.
I know how to hold them accountable and I know what to expect. So I think you have to be willing to, like, go through the mud for a little bit.
Yeah.
And, and then the only other thing I'll add to that is, on the flip side, the hardest part about turning that over is if it's not done exactly how you do it, right? It's like, and you have to be okay with that too. You have to be okay with it. Maybe it's not 100% to your standard, but like 90% is probably good. And you have to be okay with, like, they're not doing it exactly how I would do it.
Yeah.
And being okay with that too.
Oh yeah. Delegation's a big thing. I mean, as we keep extending, like you said, we keep growing pretty fast right now. We're building facilities all over. No, it's valid. I mean, I think taking those calls and us making, these call centers, they're part of these softwares and they're from Egypt or whatever, and they don't know exactly, even if they're trained to do so, they don't know exactly your spot. They're calling for all other facilities. I think for a facility that's stabilized for a while, it's good. But I think if you're building new facilities, take the calls. It's invaluable data that you get.
Yeah.
Even for the next site that we build, it's like, tweak that didn't work here.
Yeah.
It's
invaluable data. And I think something that will has a good possibility of being, like, our standard is, on our new facilities, like, we're taking those calls.
Oh yeah.
Because, like you said, with stabilized, different story. Like, the tenants know how it operates.
Yeah.
There's not a lot to it, but because of that, lease up is so important, and we could have long-term tenants.
Yep.
And we need to, like, it sounds silly and everything, but it's like, we need good reviews. Like, that's how the Google's a powerful thing for businesses.
Yep.
And we need to take care of them. They need to, when they call and they have, like, again, it's not just like, hey, how quickly can I get into a 10 by 10? They're asking questions because it's a business expense.
Yep.
They're asking you, how is this going to work for me? Why does this make sense for my business? It's a storage, like, it's an empty area. There's not a lot to it, but you still have to cater to them and make them feel comfortable. So I think that's something that we'll try to continue to do, is, like, on all of our lease ups and the new facilities, like, we'll be taking those calls to make sure that we can learn what that market wants, needs, and cater to them.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. I got a couple questions. What investment have you made the most money on in your life?
So I'm selling a townhome right now in West Fargo.
Yeah.
It's
How long have you owned it?
Since 2017. So that was the first property that I got into.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was, I mean, that'll be the first. I guess I did sell a 5-plex that I was in with 2 other partners, and it was a disaster. I think we bought it for like
real estate stories,
$80,000 or something like that, and put 100 into it, and then we sold it a couple of years later for $270 or something like that. That was the only property that I've sold that I've owned, but I'm selling my townhome now, and it's almost double the value.
Wow.
Yeah, like 90% of the increase. So
how did you get that property? That was your first one?
Yeah, I graduated again. So going back to college, focus was only on like having fun with my friends, and towards the end, I'm like, oh, what am I going to do?
What am I going to do?
So
I think there's a few people in that spot.
Yeah. And so I just started self-educating, and I came across real estate, and it was just like a light bulb. I'm like, this makes sense. This is something that and it wasn't like I never thought of it as a get rich quick thing. I'm like, hey, if this is something that I focus on for the next 20, 30 years, like I'm going to be able to do the things with my family that I want to do down the road. I'll be able to, do some of those things. So just like became obsessed with it. Like,
cool.
Listen to every single Bigger Pockets episode and just reading all the books and all this stuff. So after we were renting an apartment downtown Fargo, just like the best place ever. It was dangerous, but it was so fun. But we were leaving that place, and my college roommates were moving out, and so I'm like, hey, where am I gonna go? And obviously didn't have any money. Was working for like 6 months after that, so I wasn't able to I wasn't gonna be able to get a loan, right?
Okay.
So thankfully, my dad was helped me do that.
Oh, sweet.
And I was like, here's the thing, I can go rent an apartment for $1,000, or I can go look for like a townhome or something where like prices hadn't ballooned at that time yet, and rates were reasonable. We could buy a place where my payment was $1,000.
Oh.
So did that. It was a 3-bedroom, 3-bath townhome. Thankfully, like I said, I had help getting into that property and got 2 roommates. My payment was $1,000. I rented 2 rooms out for $500, and I lived there for 4 years.
Dang.
So, was able to house hack it.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a single unit, but house hacked it, and essentially didn't have a living payment for 4 years. So that was like my first thing. And then, I was able to parlay that equity into some more. And then, So
you'll leverage this to buy more properties at some point?
I did at one point. Yeah.
Yep.
Into a condo, and then a 4-plex.
Wow.
And then, a duplex.
Nice.
So I have, so those are my 4 properties right now. So my dad helped me out right away, and the condo actually came. The first time I leveraged the townhome was for the 5-plex.
Oh. So
the condo actually came, and my mom helped me out on that one.
Okay.
Which is like, I'm forever grateful for that, because like, it's not like either of my parents had like this abundance of cash.
Oh, okay.
Like it was a real thing for them to do that.
Really?
Like it was like not like, oh yeah, this is nothing, like go figure it out. It's like they're taking a risk helping me out. So forever grateful for that. But that's kind of how I got started. And then
that's awesome. Yeah.
So now I'm selling the townhome in West Fargo, because got a lot of equity into it. I have some repairs at other properties I need to do, and we're just getting into these Horace homes as well. So,
we bought 10 new construction homes. That'll be different.
Yep. So
then what you're used to sounds like some of the stuff you own is, where you start.
Yeah, exactly. So, just seemed like a good time to do it. And now we have like essentially all my worth is in properties, right? So,
well, you have a worth.
Yeah. So, but I'm like, okay, we have a family now, and it's like, all right, I'm going to pull some cash out and have a little bit more cash and, be a little bit, just take the edge off a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I always tell everyone in real estate, probably in the first 3 years, you're just making the payment. Yeah. Nothing's happening. Right. And that's where people get impatient with real estate, because they need this instant gratification. In 3 years, it's not paying me $10,000 a year to keep it. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. Yeah. But if you kept that thing 5-10 years, now look, what are you into that thing for 8?
What's that?
This townhome?
Yeah.
You decided to make the decision?
I think June would be like, it'll be like almost exactly 8 years right. Yeah, 8 years.
And you were in college. Any college kid could do this. And if your parents don't have the means, figure out how to creatively finance it. You can find a way, and then house hack something. And then guess what? 10 years down the road, when you're into your career, you probably have a little bit of life-changing money that you can like go and take the edge off, like you said, or buy more assets is probably what you're going to do at some point. Yeah. And so I just think that's grateful for your parents that are able to help you. Yeah. And I think most parents would help their kids if, the cost of living is going to be that.
Yeah, exactly.
That less.
And they saw, I was crazy about it. Like I wouldn't stop talking about them. Like, this makes perfect. Like, just obsessed with it, right. And I would like run them through everything. And, so I think they saw that as well. And I think, with Airbnb is I'm able to cash flow, but it's like, that's because it's me. The right. First 3 years, it's like if you remove me from the equation, it's not the same case. And now that we, like I said, have a family now and everything, it's like, and I'm more than willing to put in the work. But once family gets a little bit older, it's like you do these things so that you can, or I do these things to be able to be present with my family and provide them opportunities. Right.
Yep.
Like I don't need to be like, I don't need to have an empire. Right. I just want to be able to be there at all my family stuff and be able to support them, provide security for them. So it's like you get to the point where it's like, if I'm always stressed out because there's never something that I don't have to do and you're always feeling behind, it's like, okay, I did this so that when I have a family, I can like be there for them and not be stressed out. And it's like, that's one thing I'm trying to get better at is being present, right? You're always like looking down the road and it's like, it hits me with a kid now. It's like, it's that time is right now. Yeah. Like it's right now that is happening. So it's like, it's a little bittersweet, and it was like almost an ego thing again. Right. Yeah. It's like, if I had hundreds of thousands of dollars in the bank, I wouldn't sell it. So it's a letting you go of your ego a little bit. Like, hey, this is the best thing for us right now. And move on to the next opportunities. Like I said, you got the Horus homes coming up, and it's exciting.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. I think that's actually a great story for anyone listening to this. It's like, didn't take that long, but I'm guessing in the first 5 years, it wasn't earth shattering money that you were going to make. But if you wait 10 years with real estate, I promise you, your next 10 is going to look much different again. Yeah. And it just compounds. And I think people just love looking at the stock market going up and down. That can be just as stressful. Yeah. Go and put some money in Dogecoin and then just watch it go, ping all over the place or whatever.
Yeah. You want the instant gratification, right? Like people just want to hit and I think everyone learns the hard way that there's no cheat code, right? Like it takes time. Yeah. And it's not lock in for 6 months and change your life. Like, no, it's like lock in for 20 years. Yeah. Then maybe you'll change your life.
Yeah. Yeah. What's one of your biggest fears?
I think I just touched on it. Like like the thought of being old and not getting the best out of myself and looking back and being like, oh, I wish I would have been more present. Or I wish I would have took better care of myself. Right. I think like health is a huge thing for me. Yeah. Like, I actually have like a fear of getting older and like just being like just fragile and not being able to do things. Like I think about that, it gives me anxiety. I'm like, oh my God, I do not want to do that. So just, yeah, I mean, I just want to, there's so many great things in this world, and it's like, I just want to be present and enjoy them, and not always, I think, as entrepreneurs, and like, we're so self-motivated and everything, like, that's not the tough part, is to be motivated. The hard part is to like set aside your ego and just like, try to be more present. So the fear is that you get down the road and you look back, you don't have a good relationship with your spouse, with your family. You've lost your friends, like, not maybe because it's hate, but you just don't have a relationship with them, right? It's like good health and good relationships. Yeah. Like, that's, at the end of the day, that's what I want to have. Because I mean, without that, like, what's the point?
Yeah. Well, health is always number one, especially I'm in now, like, mid-30s. I'll keep going with mid-30s until I have to go to late 30s. But, everything, the tires come off a little bit. But even like the friends thing, like, even everyone in your mid-30s, everyone's busy. Even 30 to 40, everyone's as busy as they can. They're in that part of their career where, like, this is where I need to go hard to hopefully at 40s and 50s that, like, I have that path now built.
Yes.
And it's always hard to be present. And it's just like, if you don't hang out with your friends now, it's a muscle. It's like, all of a sudden you're not saying them. You're not saying them. Now you don't even talk to them. Now you're like, now I'm just like, I don't know what to do. So it's like, you have to be so deliberate. And like, I almost have to like schedule, like, all right, text some buddies, text your parents, text your, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have to put it in my schedule, but it's like, you have to be so subconscious of that. Otherwise, that stuff just goes away, and it's like, what are you doing then?
Right.
And all you're doing is working, trying to make money.
Yeah, then it's not worth it.
It's like,
so
it's a valid point and a great point.
Yeah.
What doesn't follow the herd mean to you?
What doesn't follow the herd mean to me? I think like the biggest thing for me is this, like, just consistency. I think most people, like, everyone has aspirations. I just can't believe otherwise. I think some people can be more content than others, or however you want to put it. But I just don't believe that, not everyone doesn't have, like, these dreams of being better or whatever. And most of those people probably take steps towards that. But it's being consistent in that. And it's not, excuse me, it's not, like I said, the 6-month fix. Like, you have to be, it's like, it's your life. Like, I take care of I'm healthy forever. Like, I'm going to watch what I eat forever. I'm going to go to the gym 3 to 5 times a week forever. I'm going to do the daily things at my work each day, not for 6 months, and hopefully that I've, like, risen to the top of the ladder. So I think it's just, it's consistency, and then, like, accountability as well. My biggest pet peeve is, like, is those that don't take accountability in every, just, oh my God, our country's in shambles and the economy sucks, and, like, all this stuff. Like, no matter what it is, and anything bad that happens in your life, I would love for people to just, like, even if it seems like, just crazy that it would be, that it was your fault, like, just look at it that way. Just always be like, what could have I done better? Yeah. And I think that's super powerful. And so, consistency, that self-accountability, and then, realizing that what comes with that accountability is that you realize that you have the power to change it. Like, that's the powerful part about it. If you, like, always look at yourself, even if it's your, like, your family, right? Like, your spouse is mad at you and you're like, I didn't do anything wrong or whatever. Yeah. And I need work on this. So
yeah, it sounds like you're speaking from the heart here.
No, I need work on this, but just is going into, going to accountability, you start asking those questions, and then you realize that, like, you have the power to, like, make the change. Yeah. And once you realize that and then believe it, like, that's super powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The commitment level that I think just commit as a whole, like people just lack that muscle. Everyone, like you said, everyone's got this muscle that they want to do more. They want to do better. They just like have a hard time committing to, I'm going to work out for the rest of my life for 3 to 5 times a week. That's detrimental to some people. Now, 3 to 5 times a week of anything, showing up at work and knowing like, I'm going to keep doing this for 10 years, whatever, you know, it's like, whatever it is, it's it's the long game.
I think the fear is for me, the fear was, and I was not always a consistent person. I used to be like, I would work hard and play hard. So I would have fun. And then when I was working, like it would be intense. Like I would like buckle down, but then I would go play hard. Yeah. Right. And I've learned that like consistency beats intensity all the time.
Oh yeah.
And when we had our son, that's like when everything changed for me. And I like went through this midlife crisis. I was like, okay, Trevor's time is over. Like, I'm not going to be able to golf 4 times a week. I'm not going to be able to go out whenever I want. And like, it was like this FOMO feeling. And it was like, because I knew I was going to commit. Like there was never a doubt. I knew that it was about to change. But like you said, it's like people are scared of like, oh my God, I'm going to do this forever. For me, once you do become consistent, it's like the most relief. It's like such a relief.
Okay.
You know, you don't feel like you're missing out because you're like, you know that you're doing the right things, and you're just, it's like, it's a relief. It's not a burden. Yeah. Once you make that commitment. So
yeah. No, dude, I love it. So if people are interested, they want to find you somewhere and pick your brain or ask you how to be an operator of some sort. There's always questions within that. And if you have a comment about this, like what's another question, we can definitely do this again and answer. Put in the comments below, share this with somebody, you know, that'd be the best part. But like, how do they get a hold of you? Where you at? Yeah.
I you know, as of late, kind of started through the banking world, but LinkedIn is probably the spot. Yeah. Especially like for the people that are watching this and are who we want to connect with. Yeah. I think most of those people are on LinkedIn, a lot of them. And that's where I'm, you know, most active. I haven't been as active lately since I started because I'm trying to, you know, want to get everything locked down here. But LinkedIn, would love, you know, Trevor Schmitt, just look me up on LinkedIn. And yeah, I've had so many great connections and conversations through that platform. So yeah, would love to connect with anyone out there. Yeah.
No, appreciate it, man. That's where actually most of our content, I just Google like what's his biggest problem and what random questions he's gotten asked or random stories. It also helps build some content. So appreciate you guys. Thanks for being on here, Trevor.
Yeah, thanks, Marc.
See you in the next one.